International Dawn Chorus Day is celebrated across the globe on the first Sunday in the month of May. During the lockdown, we received crowdsourced recordings from terraces and balconies of our listeners' homes, strictly observing the stay-home guideline of the government. Let us relax and enjoy nature's symphony. Dawn Chorus.
Wake up to the symphonies of nature. Join us as we delve into the kingdom of birds and bring to you euphonious voices of our feathered friends.
Good morning. On behalf of the entire team of All India Radio, this is Sunit Tandon welcoming you to a most unique broadcast on the World Service of All India Radio, on the Rajdhani channel, and on FM Rainbow. Every year, the first Sunday in May is celebrated as the International Dawn Chorus Day. The celebration started in the city of Birmingham in the 1980s and have now spread all over the world. And this particular day, International Dawn Chorus Day, is now celebrated in over 80 countries and has even been celebrated in Antarctica. Every year we try to celebrate this event to bring you a live dawn chorus. But this year, because of the special situation with most of the world in lockdown, we are bringing you a special International Dawn Chorus Lockdown Day. The recordings have been sourced from various places, both in the country, in India and abroad, and they have been recorded earlier by a number of enthusiasts and bird experts. And to introduce the recordings, I'm here in the studios of All India Radio, and with me remotely are two bird experts. We have with us, joining us on this broadcast, Bikram Grewal from Gurugram in the National Capital Region, and Shumit Sen from Kolkata. Welcome, Bikram and Shumit, to this very special, very unique International Dawn Chorus Day broadcast.
Thank you very much for having us.
How is everything in Gurgaon? All well with you?
Well as it can be. It's a great opportunity to sit down at home and listen to the amazing bird sounds that you can now hear very, very clearly.
And Shumit, you're in Kolkata. We've been together in earlier International Dawn Chorus live broadcasts, but this time it's a very different feeling, isn't it? You're speaking from your home, I take it?
Yes, I am at home awaiting the bird call from my region because I live in a fairly well-wooded area, so there's a lot of bird call in the morning here.
Oh, you're very lucky. I must say, I live in South Delhi, and there's a large park neighboring where I live, but a lot of houses where I am. But even so, I have been also observing the dawn chorus over the last several days. And in fact, I contributed one recording, which we'll probably hear later on in this program.
Love to hear that.
Yeah, thank you. So let's get down to it. Over the last 3 years, All India Radio has been joining hands with RTE, Radio Telefiche Iran. That's the radio television organization of Ireland, for an international broadcast bringing the live dawn chorus as it traveled along with the dawn across the face of the earth from the eastern stretches of Asia to the western extremities of Europe. But this year, of course, we cannot do so. But in deference and in tribute to RTE, we have the first recording in this International Dawn Chorus, which comes from Ireland, and Derek Mooney of Mooney Goes Wild fame, who's been our chief international anchor for the International Dawn Chorus for all these years. Let's listen to this recording of the Dawn Chorus from Ireland.
Well, good morning, India from Ireland. My name is Derek Mooney. I'm a broadcaster with RTE Radio. RTE is Ireland's national broadcasting service. I'm at the Bird Watch Ireland East Coast Nature Reserve on the east coast of Ireland, about 30 kilometres south of Dublin, the capital of our great country, and I'm in the company of Niall Hatch of Birdwatch Ireland. Birdwatch Ireland are our conservation partners on the Dawn Chorus and have been for many years. Good morning, Niall.
Good morning, Derek, and good morning to everybody in India, and particularly a special hello to all of our partners in the Bombay Natural History Society, the oldest BirdLife international partner in the whole world. So,
you mean they're all very old, or is it just the oldest?
I'm sure it's not the original staff, but no, they do great work, so it's great that they're listening to us as well.
Good morning to everybody in Bombay and indeed all over India. 1.3 billion people in India compared to Ireland that has a population of just shy of 5 million. There's a big difference, and a big difference, Niall, in the number of bird species. What is it here? We have 470, 480?
It's about that kind of, about 460, 470. Many of those are rare vagrants that you don't get here terribly commonly. We'd have a core of about 220, 230 species that are very regular here. Obviously we're a lot smaller in area than India is, and India, the climate has a much wider range of climates and habitats. In Ireland though, we do very well for seabirds particularly, so that's something that we really, I think, punch above our weight in.
There's something like 1,300 birds on the Indian bird list.
It's quite different, isn't it? Yes, and India is an amazing place for birds because there are so many resident species there, but also so many migrants from Northern Asia come to spend the winter in India, and there's such amazing habitat there, and it's an amazing place for birds. One of my favourite places, actually. Lovely, lovely spot.
You've been there, have you?
I have, but only briefly. I'd love to go back again. I certainly will be back again once life returns to normal for us and we can travel again. But a magnificent country for birds and for other wildlife.
Tell me a little bit about where we are exactly, please.
So right now we're in Birdwatch Ireland's East Coast Nature Reserve, which is just beside a very small village called Newcastle in County Wicklow. County Wicklow is the county that's just to the south of Dublin. On the whole island of Ireland there are 32 counties divided into those administrative regions, and we're quite close to Dublin, but it feels like a very different world here. It's much more rural, and the reserve here, it's 220 acres right on the coast. So you probably hear the sea behind us. We're just a couple of hundred metres from the sea, and we have lovely coastal fields and marshes, and in fact some of the land on the reserve here is actually just below sea level. So in the winter it floods and it becomes a great habitat for ducks and for geese and swans and waders, a lot of wetland birds. In the summer then it dries out and it becomes a very important woodland habitat and sort of scrub and fen habitat for lots of nesting bird species, including some of our finest singers. So I'm hoping we'll hear some of those now this morning.
Well, we're hearing them now. We're hearing a wood pigeon, very obvious bird. Sounds like a judge sitting on the bench, a magistrate or something like that. Boo, boo,
very serious.
Boo, boo.
Indeed, yes. It always sings in those 5 syllables. It's always coo, woo, 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 woo. There's many pigeons all over the world, including in India, and the wood pigeon occurs in parts of India as well. It looks slightly different to our wood pigeon here, not quite as white on the neck, but the same species, and it's one of the sort of the backbones of the dawn chorus here in Ireland. At the moment I'm hearing a blue tit as well, which is a bird that you don't have in India, a lovely little blue and yellow and green bird, very small, one of the best loved birds in Ireland, very common in our gardens. There's at least 1.1 million pairs of them nesting in Ireland, and this is the height of their breeding season at the moment. I'm hearing blackbirds at the moment. The blackbird is again one of the stars of the dawn chorus, a very common bird across all of Ireland, and it's one of the easiest to describe because it's black and it's a bird. We also are hearing the song thrush.
Of course, in Ireland, Niall, we've 2 names for the blackbird. In Gaelic, we've got the lund dove and we've got the carshock. The lund dove, the blackbird, and the carshock, well, it's just another name for the blackbird, which is the female, which is actually brown.
Oh, yeah, it's just the name for the female. It's one of those names for bird. We don't necessarily know where the origin comes from. That's right. And what I'm saying he, though, I am specifically referring to the male because, as is the case with most birds here in Ireland, it's just the male that does the singing. So the bird we're hearing singing is certainly black. The female is brown and speckled.
Is Ireland a good place for birds? We were saying earlier that there's something like 470 birds on the list. Is that a lot? Is it average? Tell me.
That's right, and as is the case with almost all of our bird species here in Ireland, it's just the male that sings. Most of the birds in India, it's the male that sings too, although there are more exceptions. There are more females there that sing than do here in Ireland. One of our most notable exceptions, though, and a bird that I'm sure many people in India will be familiar with, at least from Christmas traditions in Europe and from European Christmas cards, is the robin, the European robin, different to the robin species that you have in India. And with that species, both the male and the female sing, and I'm hearing one singing right now. So whether it's a male or female, I can't tell you. There's no way to know. But it's really the only common bird we have in Ireland where both the male and the female sing. The rest of them, it's really the boys' club.
Well, Niall, do you think it's important we can name every bird species?
if you look at the size of Ireland, well, we always say about our country we're just a small island. In fact, we're the 20th largest island on the planet. So there's hundreds of thousands of islands. There's only 19 that are bigger than Ireland, so it's big enough. But the thing is that we're the real crossroads for migration. We're on the many flyways, and birds pass through Ireland in the autumn and in the spring. So at the moment, here are lots of lovely birds nesting. Birds like common guillemots, black guillemots, razorbills, kittiwakes, fulmars, shags, cormorants, and probably my favourite of all, the puffin. So we're blessed to have puffins in Ireland, one of my favourites.
Well, as Niall has just said, it's not necessary to know the names of the birds that are singing. We are simply asking you now to immerse yourself in their world and to enjoy a wonderful, free, natural concert that cannot be cancelled. In these difficult times, we can take great comfort from the fact that nature keeps on doing what nature does best, surviving. The signs of new life and of hope are everywhere around us. So for the next few minutes, enjoy the birds of Ireland singing to the world. Good morning to you.
Well, that was a recording from Ireland. What did you make of it, Bikram and Shumit?
There are a lot of marsh birds calling, so that is the least I could make out.
Right. It's nice to hear these distant sounds. But now, after that, may I quickly come back home to Kerala, here in India? And here's a recording of a dawn chorus sent to us earlier by Dominic Thomas.
Hello and welcome to God's own country, Kerala. I am Dominic Thomas, filing this audio from Elikulam village in Kottayam district of Kerala. Our area is a home of rubber trees and latex. So the entire area look dark lush green. The rubber plantations are interspersed with jackfruit trees, teakwood trees and coconut trees. Birds normally flock to such trees rather than rubber plants. We do find lot of common birds here. They include warblers, house sparrows, pigeons, cranes, mynas, crows, handsome crow pheasants, woodpeckers, owl, and cranes. During the day, I always come across a long-tailed, colorful bird hopping from tree to tree. Unfortunately, I do not know its name. With that background, let me share the dawn chorus from my farm.
Well, those sounds were definitely much more familiar to Indian ears, wouldn't you say, Shumit?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you take a hint at which birds we were hearing over there? I'm sure many of them are very familiar birds.
Yeah, it's actually difficult, but there was certainly a cuckoo type bird which was calling somewhere in the background. But Kerala has a very good mix of birds, so it's quite hard to pinpoint exactly what bird is calling.
I know. It's not very easy in these kind of recordings when you're not actually on the ground to be able to identify them very specifically. What about you, Bikram? Could you make out any of those birds?
I could, but let me just elaborate that India is such a large country. So, we have a widespread, certain birds are found only in South India. There are certain birds that are found in Northeast, desert region. But one of the most common themes that you'll see in all the recordings, particularly in the month of May, is the Asian quail.
Yes, I thought I recognized that as well.
Now, it's very interesting. It's a dominant sound in the month of May, June. But what happens is that the quail is actually calling for a mate.
Right.
Now, quails are cuckoos and they don't bring up their young.
Yes.
They are parasitical breeders. It's called brood parasitism. And what they do is they go and lay their eggs in some other unsuspecting bird. Can be even a small bird like a sunbird. And these parents, or the sort of adopted parents, don't realize that this is not their own progeny. And they feed it and marry it till they grow up and fly away. But what this means is that because they don't have to look after their children, they can lay several kinds of eggs for all the way up to September, October.
So they're very prolific.
So you have cuckoo calls, including the quail, during this period. Normally, you would mate, you'll bring up the king, you stop calling for a mate, but the cuckoos just go on. And the quail is the commonest of all the cuckoos. So It's a lovely sound anywhere, and they have a very wide distribution.
But I also thought I recognized the koel over there. And I must say that's a sound that all of us in India are familiar with, very much so. Now, let's go over to a place in Delhi which is rather special because it has a large tract of fairly natural forest. What I'm talking about is the campus of the JNU, the Jawaharlal Nehru University in Delhi. And here's a recording made from that campus by Dr. Surya Prakash, another one of our colleagues who has been an expert on the International Dawn Chorus team from All India Radio in the past, and a good friend. He has made this recording a little earlier, and I'm sure we'll find a lot of familiar birds in this as well, although the variety may be more because, as I said, it's a nice wooded campus at the JNU, and therefore the diversity of birds there might be greater. Let's listen.
Hello friends, welcome to Dawn Chorus once again. I am Surya Prakash from JNU. I know we are fighting COVID-19 by being locked down, but birds are free and are brightening our days with their melodious synchronized songs every morning, and silence is prevailing everywhere. The songsters of this chorus are grey francolin, robins, tailor birds, bulbuls, peacocks, miners, barbets, and crows.
So that was the Dawn Chorus as recorded by our friend and colleague Dr. Surya Prakash at the Jawaharlal Nehru University campus here in New Delhi. Any comments from you, Bikram?
I think it's a very interesting compilation of bird sounds. But there's a very interesting bird which is popularly known as the common hawk cuckoo, because it partially resembles a hawk as well in a tentative way. It's also called popularly the brain fever bird.
Ah, yes, of course. Everybody's heard of the brain fever word.
That was the dominant sound in Surya Prakash's recording. And it's a cuckoo. And it's a bit of a ventriloquist because you really can't, find the bird just by its sound. You can't trace it. And it's called the brain fever bird because it drives you completely crazy. It's the first bird to start about 3 o'clock in the morning, goes on ad nauseum throughout the day.
Right.
And it's a very iconic sound of the Indian summer.
And a very insistent, repetitive sound.
Yeah, very, very. Just goes on and on. And
they drove the British crazy. They named it the brain fever bird.
Shumit, that's you coming in, huh? The British, they were driven crazy by this bird, right? The call of the bird.
Yeah. It went especially in the height of summer, in the days when there was no air conditioning, nothing. And, this bird would incessantly call through the day and through the middle of the night also. But I was very happy to hear my favorite bird in the background, the barbet calling.
Ah, yes. All those various lovely barbets which proliferate in India. So many varieties.
I think the brown-headed barbet was calling in the background. So that's one of my favorite birds, and I was happy to hear that bird call.
How wonderful. Now, let's move on to a slightly more salubrious climate of Dehradun. And there we have this recording of the Dawn Chorus sent to us by my friend and colleague of yesteryears, Anjan Ray.
Anjan Ray from Mokampur, Dehradun. It has been a good day for bird watching here. We have seen several peacocks, red jungle fowl, ashy prinia. There are a pair of hornbills nesting right in front of where I am. We also have bush chats. We have a bunch of jungle babblers. Then we've got a long-tailed rufous shrike and a rufous tree-pied that I can't see, but it keeps on calling, as does a brain fever bird, which we normally refer to as the common hawk cuckoo. I hope you can visit here someday.
So that was a recording sent from sylvan verdant surroundings by my broadcasting colleague of yesteryears, Anjan Ray. Any comments from you, Bikram, on that?
Yeah, since I live in Dehradun part of the time, Dehradun has amazing variety of birds. Over 600 species recorded in the hills because it's a mixture of plains and the low hills. But I could hear the jungle crow very easily. There were a couple of babblers. It's an amazing place to go and look at birds, which I do whenever I'm there, which is once a month, and it's just fabulous.
Once a month when there's no lockdown, I presume. Right now you must be missing Dehradun.
I should have been there instead of sitting here. But anyway, I mean, it's the dawn chorus in Dehradun and the low Shivalik hills is absolutely amazing. Sumit and I have spent many happy days there.
Yeah. Shumit, what about the birds from Dehradun?
I was hoping to hear the call of the scimitar babblers because I didn't get it because that is the signature of Dehradun. Whenever I spend time in Bikram's lovely house in Dehradun, his scimitar, rusty cheek scimitar babblers are on call. And they do something which is called antiphonal duetting.
Wow.
The male and the female, they call, one after the other, and this type of calling is called antiphonal duetting. And that is a wonderful thing to hear. And I think there are some tit babblers calling in the background, or bush warblers. I couldn't quite make out, but because they sound similar. But very much Dehradun, it reminded me of my walks in Dehradun.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Yes, the antiphonal calling is something I can also understand, because in music you have antiphonal choruses in some older music from the Renaissance and later. So anyway, let's now change tracks completely and go to a place which is a tropical climate. Here's a recording of the dawn chorus from Shalini from Singapore.
This is Shalini from Singapore. I recorded this audio at 6 a.m. in the morning at the reservoir.
And what do you make of that? I think there were some familiar sounds there as well, weren't there? Shumit?
Yeah, of course. Cuckoos calling in the background. And there were some other birds that we could make out. But Singapore is very well known for its bird diversity. And for a small place, they really manage their environment very well.
And Bikram, any comments on that recording from Singapore?
I think it's so wonderful, just reminded me so much of my days there. There's a park called Bukit Timah there, which is absolutely amazing. Singapore is known for its bulbuls, diverse bulbuls. And there were a lot of them in the background. So.
Yeah, I have to clarify that to all our listeners and to all of you, of course, you already know, I'm sure, that almost all these recordings have actually been made by generous contributors on their cell phones. So, they're just holding their cell phones up and recording it in most places. So you can't expect great quality bird sounds. But nonetheless, we are doing the best possible under the conditions that we are operating under at the moment. All right.
Hey, can I just interject?
Yes, please.
One of the few nice things that have come out of the lockdown is everybody's now turned into an amateur bird watcher. I get flooded from morning till evening.
Yes.
With people sending me recordings, people sending me photographs, asking what it is. So It's a very good sign for us bird watchers.
Wonderful. That's wonderful news. I know I have done that also a couple of occasions. I said, oh my God, that's a wonderful bird. I have the time now to look at them and the time to try and find out what they are called. So birds that I don't recognize, I often send off photographs to experts like you and Shumit and say, tell me what it is. And I get a prompt answer back because I'm absolutely amazed at your knowledge. All of you, the keen birders, they are so knowledgeable and they can easily spot a bird even with a blurred photograph. So I'm completely in awe of you, and may your tribe increase. And as you say, it is increasing now.
It's increasing leaps and bounds.
Wonderful. So let's move on now, come back to India and go to the wonderful state of Uttarakhand and to a region where we were last year for the live broadcast of the Dawn Chorus, the Satal region. And I was there last year on the 5th of May, I think it was. That was the first Sunday of May. And it was a wonderful treat. The diversity of birds there was absolutely incredible. Here is a recording from somebody we met in Uttarakhand at Satal on that expedition last year, Hari Lama. He sent us this recording of the Dawn Chorus from Satal.
Hi, I am Hari Lama from Satal, Nainital, Uttarakhand, bird guide. White-tailed green pigeon and blue-throated barbet calling constantly. Black bulbul, black lower tit, bronze drongo, blue whistling thrush, also making call. Spotted dove calling behind. Great barbet calling further up. Plum-headed parakeet. Grey-headed canary flycatcher. Ashy bulbul and grey-headed woodpecker.
Well, that was a recording from Hari Lama, whom I'm sure many bird experts know. He himself is a bird expert.
It's an amazing place. You know, Sattal is an amazing place. It's halfway between the lower Himalayas and the higher Himalayas. So you get birds from both the regions depending on the season. And, like he said, that was the wedge-tailed green pigeon, which is a hill bird. There were barbets. You get the blue-throated and the lineated barbet. The sounds are very similar. I could hear spotted doves in the background. It's an excellent place for pheasants. So if you want to see the very elusive key pheasant, which Sumita and I saw in Sattal, that's the place to go. You get the koklas. You know, it's one of the greatest places to watch birds in India.
Right, it is one of the bird wonderlands, as I found out last year myself. I'm not a birder, but I have been introduced into this world courtesy of this program, and I simply love the area and the wonderful birds I saw in the very erudite company of my bird-loving friends, including Hari Lama. So now let's move on to Odisha. And from Orissa, we have a recording sent to us by Snigdha Mohanty of the Dawn Chorus there from Bhubaneswar.
I'm Snigdha Mohanty from Bhubaneswar, Odisha. I recorded this bird singing early in the morning from my balcony, and it's basically an urban area only. These birds really amazing to listen to. They were really chirping to glory.
So that was the Dawn Chorus from Bhubaneswar in Orissa. Any comments from you, Bikram?
Yes, Odisha is unfortunately overlooked as a birding destination. I'm currently writing a book called Birds of Odisha, and I am amazed at how many birds there are. You have the famous Chilika Lake.
Yes.
You have the Simlipal National Park. You have Mangla Jodi, which is hop, skip, and jump from Bhubaneswar. But I'll tell you a very interesting story about Bhubaneswar. There's a bird called the pale-capped pigeon. Till recently, no photographs existed. It was so rare. And suddenly, a whole flock turned up in the heart of Bhubaneswar.
I see, in the city itself.
In the city, in the heart of the city, and the bird watchers went berserk. All flights were booked. And they clicked away in the heart of the city. One of the rarest pigeons in India. And Bhubaneswar city.
Wonderful.
When hearing this recording, you can hear the barbet. As a leitmotif, the barbets are there. I would urge everybody to go to Orissa and look at birds there.
Oh, it's a wonderful state. I've gone often to Bhubaneswar, and I must say I love the place, and there's a lot of wildlife. I've been to Chilika also once, and that's really quite amazing. Shumit, any comments? You are pretty close to Bhubaneswar.
What amazes me about Orissa is that it tells us about how Indian wildlife was once connected from the ocean to the mountains. There are a lot of birds that are found in Orissa which are only found in the Himalayas.
I see.
So, yes, there are scimitar babblers which occur in Orissa, which are found in the Himalayas. There are falconets which are found in Orissa, which are found in the Himalayas. So it sort of talks, arcs about the day when all these birds actually must have moved from the ocean to the mountain, and it's just humans who occupied the space in between and taken away the forests. That's my call.
Well, thank you very much. Let's move on now, come back to Delhi. And here's a recording from the heart of South Delhi from R.K. Puram, sent to us by our own colleague, Amlan Majumdar.
Good morning. This is Amlan Majumdar from R.K. Puram, Sector 4, New Delhi. In the last 3 years, when we have been producing the Dawn Chorus program, we have been using sophisticated microphones, and that too deep inside jungles and bird sanctuaries. This is for the first time we are attempting an urban Dawn Chorus program. The sounds of birds which will follow have been recorded from my garden on my mobile phone recorder. There are birds of different hues and varieties. I can easily spot about 30 to 40 species of birds here. The intensity of the bird song have increased since the lockdown period, because less of interference maybe has given birds more freedom to sing at their own will.
A recording from R.K. Puram in Delhi sent to us by Amlan Majumdar, the brain behind this program, our colleague in All India Radio. Apart from the crows, which we could hear very clearly in the background, what was that songbird which we heard in the foreground? Can either of you, Bikram or Sumit, identify? Because I've heard it also. I live very close to R.K. Puram, and I've heard that songbird also very early in the morning, just before it's light. And it stops singing once the first glimmering of sunlight appears. Any identifiers for that? I'm sure it's a very common bird.
I think it must be the Indian robin calling.
Indian
that's
robin.
That's the songbird. That is the most common songbird that Delhi has. But one little word on the crows, for all their intelligence, they're quite lazy. In fact, there is a chronology of who gets up first in the morning, and who's late
Late
to wake
riser.
up. Crows are pretty late to wake up.
That's
the
true.
bulbul, the red-vented bulbul, will start calling the first in urban surroundings. They'll
Yes.
possibly start calling when it's still dark.
That's right.
Birds like the quail will start calling very early in the morning. But the crow is rather late. The starlings call much earlier than the crows. The crow sort of gets up, takes its time about, announcing its presence.
But, Sunit, there's a very interesting thing. Very few people know
Yes.
that of all the national capitals of the world, Delhi has the second largest number of species recorded.
That's right. The bird diversity in Delhi is the second highest in the world for any national capital, which is the Nairobi beats us.
Nairobi.
But in Delhi, we see regularly about 350 species, and if you include old records and vagrants, it goes up beyond 500.
Wonderful. I mean, we are very lucky to have such a variety of avian fauna around us. Now, let's move on to a recording from a neighboring country, from Bangladesh. Here's a recording of the dawn chorus from a place fairly close to where Shumit is, in Kolkata, sent from Bangladesh by Irani Bishwash. And that was the dawn chorus from neighboring Bangladesh, sent to us by Irani Bishash. Bangladesh has probably similar variety of birds as West Bengal, wouldn't you say so, Sumit?
Yeah, except as you keep going east, it shares birds with Tripura and Mizoram, and so on its western borders, it certainly shares birds with West Bengal, but they're larger than the state of West Bengal. They don't have the hill birds because they don't really have high mountains. They have low hill birds, but they have a huge coastline which has some tremendous birds like the spoonbill sandpiper, which is one of the rarest of most endangered birds in the world, is fairly common in winter. Sandpipers is like a treasure, and they have that regularly. So they have masked finfoots, which we used to have. A wonderful bird, an oddity of nature. So there are some birds that they have.
You missed out Nordman's green shank.
Nordman's green shank is not seen every year, so that's why I didn't want to. But the spoonbill sandpiper is seen every year. Nordman's green shank, like Bikram says, is certainly a very, very rare bird, and that also occurs in Bangladesh. So they have about 80% of their birds are similar to the birds that we have, but they have specialities which we don't have.
Right, now let's move on to a completely westward direction. We go to Mumbai now, and from there, here's a recording of the Dawn Chorus sent to us by A.G. Prasad.
Good morning, this is A.G. Prasad from Andheri, East Mumbai. Mumbai is one of the most happening places in the world. People say Mumbai never sleeps, but today, due to corona pandemic situation, they are proved wrong. Today, the people are confined to their residences and homes, and birds are having a happy time. During this period of time in Mumbai, is a natural favorite destination of many world-class birds, Siberian seagulls, which are seen in and around Kulaba, and flamingo near New Mumbai. There are about 10 varieties of birds, such as Tailor bird, Asian quail, white-spotted fantail, rose-ringed parquet, white-throated kingfisher are seen in and around Andheri. They sing beautiful songs in the pre-dawn hours. Let's hear to the beautiful songs of these birds.
Well, that sounded very different indeed. Any comments on that, Bikram?
Yeah, Bombay is such a large place, so it would have been nice if we got to know where it was coming from.
Yeah.
But there was a common minor. There are places in Bombay, for instance, as we speak, in a place called Surrey, there are 1.5 lakh flamingos next to housing colonies.
That's right. Navi Mumbai area. Yeah, I've heard that there are lovely flamingos there at the moment.
And it has a coast, so you get coastal birds, the western reef heron, and you have, of course, the Sanjay Gandhi National Park, which is it's an amazing place for bird watching. Yes. And Bombay has a very strong birding traditions. I mean, Salim Ali came from there. So
that's right. Salim Ali, the great ornithologist. And
he was the daddy of everybody.
That's right. What was that very, very peculiar sound towards the
end? I couldn't figure it out.
We'll have to rely on Mr. A.G. Prasad to tell us.
Yes.
Any comments on that, Sumit?
No, other than the bulbul was very evident in the beginning. I was quite intrigued by the other call, given the fact that I'm fairly familiar with the species that, not the calls, but the species that are found in Mumbai. I am stumped as far as that bird is concerned. Love to hear from the recorder what the bird was. It really had a very distinctive call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on now back to Delhi, back to the heart of the country. And here's a recording of the Dawn Chorus sent to us by Nitish Arora.
Good morning. I'm Nitish Arora from Vasundhara Enclave, Delhi. This place is about 7 kilometers from Okhla Bird Sanctuary, and the aerial distance could be somewhere around kilometer and a half. Lots of green vegetation around, and quite a few winged visitors come here every morning. Indian parakeet, pigeons, crows are a few names that I can identify, and of course cuckoo. Since Okhla Bird Sanctuary is very near, most of the birds throng in there. Quite a few of them visit this area also. It's kind of a stopover for them. They pour their sweet chorus every morning.
Well, that sounded like a fairly clear recording, slightly better quality than some of the others we've had on this program, sent to us from Delhi by Nitish Arora. Any comments?
Delhi has, like Bombay, has various different habitats. You have the ridge where you see a different lot of birds. You have the Okhla River, which is very fecund in bird diversity. I mean, I could hear starlings and things like that in this. And, of course, the ubiquitous crow.
Yeah, this I think is near water. This is near water. There were reed birds calling, which is hard to identify, but it sounded like there were warblers calling.
So somewhere near the Yamuna, probably.
Possibly.
Right. Let's move on to familiar territory for you, Shumit. We are going to a recording received from Kolkata by Ranjana Chaudhary. Let's have a listen.
This is Ranjana Chaudhary presenting the recording of bird songs from Andul, near Kolkata, West Bengal. In this dawn chorus, you can identify the beautiful songs of the cuckoos, the bulbuls, the oriental magpie robins, commonly known as doel, the black drongo, that is finge, the common hawk cuckoos called papia, the greater cuckoo, that is kubo, and the sunbird or motushi.
Comments from you, Shumit, first of all, as this is your home territory.
Yeah, you could hear the quail and the hawk cuckoo quite clearly, both one after the other. And the other calls are like a little faint. So these were the two predominant ones, yes.
Right. Anything to say, Bikram?
Yeah, now you know why they call it the brain fever bird.
Yes, the insistent call was quite prominent.
Yeah, and I think, one of the calls that is very common in Kolkata in the morning is the call of the white-breasted water hen. That is a very common dawn call in and around Kolkata where there is a little water. Yeah.
All right, let's move again outside the shores of our country and go all the way to Northern Europe. And here's a recording from Scotland that's been sent to us by Ian McIlwraith. Let's listen to the dawn chorus coming all the way from Scotland.
It's 4:20 in my part of northeast Scotland. The sun's not up yet, but the sky is going from that dark, dark blue to a lovely colour of pink and yellow and turquoise. There's not a cloud in the sky. Quite a few stars still out. Venus is shining down. And it's pretty quiet in the wood at the moment. Every now and again you hear the sound of the rooks, the big crow-like birds. They're on eggs at the moment. Eggs that are just about to hatch, and the females are shuffling about and getting comfortable and calling to each other. And what I expect to happen, no guarantees, is that very soon a robin with that bright red breast will perch itself on the top of a tree and kick off the dawn chorus. Probably have it to itself for about 5 minutes, and then I would expect a thrush, perhaps a blackbird first to kick in, then the wood pigeon, possibly a pheasant, and then everybody piles in for a real Scottish dawn chorus. Well, the robin got in first by maybe a minute. He's on the right in a birch tree above me. There's a tawny owl in the background. Blackbirds are joining in now. There's a blackbird off to my left, way up on the top of the tree. It's quite a chilly morning here. As I said, it's a clear blue sky. But if you listen carefully, you might hear the frogs calling for mates. That was it just there, the solitary frog. What a glorious way to spend an hour. There's so much horribleness in the world at the moment. But you have this interaction with nature, the frogs, the blackbirds, the robins, the rooks, the pheasant, the tawny owl, the blue tits, the chaffinches. And just sharing that moment with the wildlife and knowing that there are colleagues all over the world doing the same thing to bring people birdsong from around the world. It's really uplifting. And just looking at that blackbird on the top of that tree, singing his heart out. What a way to start the morning. Well, the blackbird's been carrying the dawn chorus for quite a long time now. But the blue tits have just woken up. And getting in on the act. And that is about it from Scotland. The sun's just peeping over the horizon. The pheasants are out on the fields now. The rooks are well and truly active. The blackbird's just left to start his day. What a beautiful way to spend the morning. From Scotland, good morning.
Well, the dawn chorus coming all the way from Scotland, a recording sent to us by Ewan McIlwraith. Apart from the crows in the background, I don't think I can recognize any of those birds. Could you all hazard a guess, either you, Sumit or Bikram?
No, I wouldn't have, but
a lot of songbirds in that area.
Yes.
Maybe thrushes.
I mean, they don't have the large list that we have in India, but they're rather well known for their songbirds like the robin and other smaller birds.
Thrushes, I think, calling. But there is an interesting point here. This possibly is not from a city, and there are studies which have been conducted recently which says that the city birds call louder than birds from non-urban areas.
I see.
Because they call at a higher pitch, because they have to be heard. They're louder and sing at a higher pitch, and that's a genetic change that has, through selective breeding or whatever.
Oh, you mean to get over the urban hum?
Yeah, because they have to be heard over the noise of the city. And this is quite distinct. They have done these experiments where they've taken a city bird and same species from a rural area, and there's a marked difference in the pitch and the loudness of the song.
Right.
I thought I'd just add that.
Wonderful. Thank you for that little nugget of knowledge. Let's move on back home now to Chandigarh, quite close to Delhi. And here's a recording of the dawn chorus from there, sent by Sanjeev Dosanjh.
Early morning at about 5:45 a.m., myself, Sanjeev Dosanjh, and my elder brother, Dr. Rajiv Dosanjh, were standing on the terrace of our house in Sector 10, Chandigarh. Right next to our boundary wall is the Botanical Garden of Government Polytechnic College. It has numerous trees in it, and we could hear the birds chirping their morning melodies. We could spot a few birds like the bulbul, sparrow, a long-tailed yellow bird, and of course our national bird, the peacock. Let's listen to their songs of the dawn.
Apart from the crows, of course, who are ubiquitous, I heard that very insistent call of the peacock over there.
Yeah.
And I thought I heard some parakeets as well. Am I right?
Yeah, there's a peafowl calling.
Chandigarh is an interesting place because it lies at the base of the Kasoli Hills or the Shivalik Hills. So it gets a lot of stuff, especially during winter when it's cold. Lots of birds come down. And Chandigarh, like everybody else, has quite an interesting birding club. And they take their job quite seriously. You could hear two different barbets there.
And there was a red-whiskered bulbul calling.
Right. Well, we are getting even closer home with the next recording, which has been sent to us by Satrupa Chaudhary from Faridabad. Let's have a listen.
Hi, this is Shatarupa and the Dawn Chorus coming to you from Sector 46 Faridabad, which is on the edge of the Mangair Bani forest. The number of birds here is stupendous. The bulbuls and various little bush birds, including the sunbirds, are the first to rise. The bulbuls are the clearest in what they have to say, and they sing right through the morning. Then there are the partridges, a koel in the distance. There were some peacocks also in the distant forest. There are coppersmiths going off with their tuk 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 tuk. There were so many others, but maybe whom one couldn't identify. It was as though the whole place was resounding with the songs of the birds early in the morning. A beautiful symphony to start off the day with.
That was a recording from Faridabad in neighboring Haryana, right next to us in Delhi. Not in the capital territory, but certainly in the capital region. Any comments on those sounds that we heard?
They're very similar to the Delhi bird sound.
Yeah, you're the Gurugram, Haryana specialist, Bikram, because you're a resident of that state.
This is all NCR sounds, which everybody wakes up every morning to.
Yeah, that was a nice reminder. Now we go to the heart of the NCR, to Delhi. And here's a recording from our colleague in AIR, Boshudha Banerjee. It's been sent in for this Dawn Chorus program. Here's a recording from Delhi.
Good morning, friends. This is Boshudha Banerjee from Mayur Vihar in Delhi, listening to the Dawn Chorus of birds. I can identify the common myna, some parakeets and the Asian koel, and of course the crow. The Mayur after whom Mayur Vihar takes its name seemed to be asleep this morning. Enjoy.
Parakeets, crows, and more brain fever. Am I right, gentlemen?
And it had my favorite bird in the background, the coppersmith barbet. The tiny little coppersmith barbet was calling.
Can you describe it for us, Bikram?
It's a very small bird. It's a barbet. And the call that is doing now at the moment is a territorial call. It's defending its territory. It's a sparrow plus.
I see.
And it's brilliantly marked as the smallest of, we get about 2-3 of them, different small barbets. This is the commonest of them, called the coppersmith, named because the sound is as if a coppersmith is hammering a
sheet of copper. Yes.
It's lovely.
Wonderful. Shall we go on to our next recording now, because we're going to go outside our borders again, and we are moving westwards to Pakistan. Here's a recording sent of the Dawn Chorus from there by Shahina Rafi.
सुबह के 6 बजने वाले हैं, लेकिन इस वक्त काफ़ी उजाला भी फैल चुका है। और ये है कराची। कराची का बहुत खूबसूरत इलाका गुलशन इकबाल, और गुलशन इकबाल का बहुत ही सब्ज़ और हरियाला इलाका है ये। और इसमें इस वक्त जो तमाम बर्ड्स हैं, जो जिनमें चिड़ियाँ हैं, कौवे हैं, इतने सारे परिंदों में इस छोटे से परिंदे की सुरीली सी आवाज़ बड़ी अच्छी लग रही है। बहुत खूबसूरत मंज़र है, बहुत ही दिलफरेब आवाज़ें सुनाई दे रही हैं। और ये वो छोटी छोटी सी चिड़ियाँ हैं, उनकी आवाज़ें हैं। और चूँकि सुबह सवेरा है और इस वक्त तमाम परिंदे अपने अपने घोंसलों से निकलकर आसमान पे उड़ान भर रहे होते हैं। और इस उड़ान में सभी एक होते हैं, जैसे इसमें बहुत सारे कौवे हैं, बहुत सारी चीलें भी हैं, कोयल है जो कि आमों के दरख्तों पर बोल रही है। और चूँकि मौसम ही आमों का है, और कोयल का बोलना बहुत खूबसूरत होता है, बहुत दिलनशीन आवाज़ है कोयल की। आसमान पे उड़ान भरते हुए परिंदे, और ज़मीन पर बैठा हुआ ये मुर्गा अपनी आवाज़ में बता रहा है, मैं भी परिंदा हूँ।
Well, it sounded all very familiar to us here in the north of India, but there was a cockerel there also. It wasn't the Indian wildfowl, I think. It was probably a domesticated cockerel,
Yeah,
right?
it's possibly a domesticated one, because they don't have any left, I think, the wild variety.
The wild variety.
Yeah.
All gone into the pot.
Well, I presume they still have a few of the red jungle fowl.
Yes.
Which is very interesting, because the red jungle fowl, in any case, is the progenitor of all breeds.
That's right, of all chickens all across the planet, the red jungle fowl of India. That's where they all come from. That's
and
right.
it's wonderful. It's called Gallus. Gallus is the Latin name.
Yes.
And there are several subspecies, and one of them is called Gallus murgi.
Using the local name.
Yeah, so it'd be interesting, because Pakistan also has very diverse. It's the northwest frontier of Pakistan has a different set of birds altogether, high altitude.
Right.
And you get a bird which is called the CC partridge, which you don't get in India, but you get it in Pakistan.
Yeah, in the northwest.
Then also around the Makran coast, you have, sooty falcons, and all. Some of these birds are not found in India.
Right.
At least in the sort of northwestern part of it.
Well, thank you. Now let's move on to the west, but in India. We go to the wonderful lake city of Udaipur, and here's a recording of the Dawn Chorus from Udaipur, sent to us by Virendra Jain.
Hello, myself Virendra Kumar Jain. I am from Udaipur, Rajasthan. My city, Udaipur, is known for its lovely lakes and beautiful gardens surrounded by Aravalli hills. I have recorded voices of different birds adjacent to my house. I have identified voices of different birds like sparrow, peacock, parrots, and crow.
Well, that was a recording from Udaipur, sent to us by Virendra Jain. What do you make of that?
Urban bulbul, there's a dove there at the back, and the Asian quail makes a comeback.
Wonderful. The other thing I've noticed is because of the lockdown, even these urban recordings, while they may have a lot of other ambient sounds, at least they don't have traffic sounds, which are
That's a relief.
absolutely ubiquitous if you try to record the dawn chorus otherwise during in the cities. So that's a relief during the lockdown.
Yeah.
Let's come back to Delhi now. Here's another dawn chorus recording from Delhi by Vikas Bhatti.
Good morning, everyone. This is Vikas Bhatti, an environmentalist from Delhi Pollution Control Committee. I have recorded the sound of the birds in Ramprastha Green, Vaishali, Ghaziabad.
So there was Delhi again. I heard a parakeet distinctly.
Yeah, there are sparrows in this call, and one word about sparrows and their decline. I don't think sparrows have declined because of anything other than the lack of nesting and the lack of food.
Our architecture has changed. We don't have those old
Yes,
open houses
we
which
don't-
provided them with
we-
ample nesting spaces, right?
Yes, and also we don't wash our dishes in the open anymore, so the drains are not good for food picking. But the sparrows are making a comeback in many places. I live in a place, I'm delighted to say that, I'm surrounded by sparrows. I provide them with nesting spaces, so I have some 50 sparrows all around my house, all through the year.
That's wonderful to hear because the sparrow has actually been adopted as the sort of state bird of Delhi.
Yeah.
And recently I've seen some sparrows very near my house as well. So I was quite surprised. It seems to be making a bit of a comeback in Delhi also.
And if you just go out to Delhi into the rural areas, you do see them. We also get in the Delhi area two other sparrows. We get the Sind sparrow, and the Spanish sparrow has also been seen in the Delhi region.
I see. And these are different from the russet sparrows that you see in the hills, right?
Yeah, russet, and the hills you see tree sparrows, you see russet sparrows. But here you get the Sind sparrow and the Spanish sparrow as well, but
Right.
in small numbers.
Right, now we are going for the next recording to Gurugram, your home territory, Bikram. This is a recording sent to us from Gurugram, Gurgaon, sort of just right outside Delhi and within the National Capital Region by Charu Dutt.
Hi, this is Charudat Panigrahi. I live in Gurgaon, and the place where I live is lined with tall trees, pretty thick trees, and a lot of bushes around. All kinds of birds chirping, singing, talking to each other. I would not know names of all the birds, but some of the birds, over a period of time, I have come to know about the names and the characteristics. Some of the birds would be would grey-lag goose, cuckoos. We have gargany, Baikal teal, and poachards. Thank you.
Any comments on that recording from...
Barbets are there, the common miners there, and of course, quail, which is silent through most of winter in the non-breeding season, is of course the dominant sound.
So there you are, familiar sounds to you where you're living.
Even in heart of Delhi, you see the quail. You know, Delhi is a very leafy city.
That's right.
Lots of trees, and it's a wonderful place for birdsong.
Here's a recording that has been sent to us by Mahashreta Bakshipatra from the Indiana University campus in Bloomington in Indiana. Let's listen to the dawn chorus in Bloomington, Indiana. Very strange sounds to our ears. I'm sure a completely different continent, and I'm sure a completely different avian fauna over there. Any guesses at all or any comments that you'd like to offer? Bikram first?
No, I wouldn't even hazard a guess.
Have you done much bird watching in the USA?
Well, some when I was university there for a year, but that was on the East Coast, but really, I mean, I have very little to say.
I can totally imagine. It's another world out there. And what about you, Shumit? Any experience of...
I spent 5 years not seeing a bird in New York City.
You must have seen some. That's an exaggeration.
I honestly, I mean, I never saw the light of day, get up at 7 in the morning in darkness, come back at 9 in the evening.
Tells you right for being a banker.
So, I mean, I'm
Banking
sure
and
there were
birding
birds
don't mix, Shumit.
I'm sure there were birds in Central Park, but then I never ventured. There were ducks. I've seen ducks, yes. But
Wonderful. In the little ponds in Central Park, right?
Yes. Yeah, there are ducks which people eat in Central
Anyway,
Park. That's about all I can remember.
We are very thankful to Mahashweta Bakshipatra for sending us that recording of the Dawn Chorus from the Indiana University campus at Bloomington, Indiana, USA. Let's move on now to a slew of recordings from Delhi. We have several coming up now, and we'll go through them quickly, and perhaps we can have a comment in between if you would like to comment on a particular one. The first of those Delhi recordings, which we're going on to now, has been sent to us by Shiva Kumar.
Hi, this is Shiva Kumar. I live in Northwest Delhi in Radio Colony. We are surrounded here by greenery, large trees and open spaces, grassland and shrubs. Naturally, we get to see a large number of birds every day right from the early hours. Mornings start with the calls and screams of the peacocks that are permanent residents of this area. A dozen of them strut around the colony, especially in the morning hours. The cuckoos follow with their lovely songs even as early as 5 a.m. Rock pigeons, the bluish-grey variety, are found in large numbers here, and they roost even in empty buildings and under the windowsills of apartment blocks. The laughing doves are the smaller off-white pigeons that coo, goo, 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 and they line up every morning on the cables that crisscross the colony. The green parakeets explore the treetops and return periodically to sample the mulberry and other fruits available here. The babblers, brown birds who are called the Seven Sisters, come in later in the day after the black drongos and robins who sing beautifully have visited. We have kites or cheel, as it are called in Hindi, that glide effortlessly through the blue skies. They are often chased by the smaller mynas who fly around in pairs and make a big noise like the babblers. For some reason, crows are fewer than other birds in the colony, though we have neem, jamun, peepal, banyan, amla, saptaparni and other trees and shrubs. Not much here for scavenging maybe. All in all, the radio colony in Northwest Delhi is indeed a paradise for birds.
That also was a wonderful recording from Delhi by Shiva Kumar. Well, any comments from you gentlemen on those various recordings from different parts of Delhi?
Well, it's mostly what we've been hearing before, typical urban sounds, songs, and this is the best time of the year to listen to them.
Yes, so let's now move out again, go to Northern Europe once again, and we have a recording which has been sent to us all the way from Sweden by our friend in Swedish radio, Helena Söderlund, who's a producer of their Naturmorgon or Nature Morning program on Swedish radio. Let's listen to the Dawn Chorus from Sweden. Oh, we are really thankful to our friend Helena Söderlund, producer of the Naturmorgon program on Swedish radio, who sent us that recording of the Dawn Chorus. Any comments on that, Bikram?
Wonderful sounds. I mean, I wish I knew what they were. It's so nice to hear the sounds. And I have absolutely no idea what they are.
And Shumit?
I'm stretching my luck here, but I think there was a wood dove calling towards the end. I've heard that call on the television at some stage. So the last call, I think, is a performance wood dove.
Good. Live dangerously. Hazard a guess.
Live dangerously, as they say, yes.
Thank you very much. We have some recordings now from India before we wind up, and we'll end with another foreign recording. But first, we have a recording sent to us by Sangeeta Singh from Nandgaon in Maharashtra.
Good morning to all the nature lovers and the bird lovers. I'm Sangeeta Singh and I'm from Nandgaon Pet, Maharashtra near Amravati. Immerse yourself in the dawn chorus of the birds. It is so meditative.
That was a recording all the way from Maharashtra sent to us from Nandgaon by Sangeeta Singh. And now we have yet another of our recordings sent to us from outside India. Let's head all the way to the southern hemisphere, to Sydney, Australia, from where Akriti has sent us this recording of the Dawn Chorus.
Good morning. My name is Akriti, residing in Sydney, Australia. It's 7 a.m. in the morning. At the moment, I'm standing in my lawn. Many birds like Australian magpie, common myna, kookaburra, cuckoo dove start their symphony, which is very serene and comforting to the mind. I love Australian magpie's voice. It's very loud and melodious. Listen to it and enjoy.
And now, for our final external recording, let's go over to the USA. This is from Deepak Kapoor, who has recorded the Dawn Chorus at Mayberry State Park in Northville, Michigan. Let's have a listen.
Hi, this is Deepak Kapoor from Michigan. I'm here to record the soothing voices of the beautiful birds of Northville, Michigan.
That was a recording from Mayberry State Park in Northville, Michigan in the USA, sent to us by Deepak Kapoor. We are coming to the end of our time, and I've saved up a recording that I made myself on this terrace garden that I have. I have a nice lawn on the top of my house. And when I was asked by Ordinary Radio to do a dawn chorus recording some time ago, I went up there and early in the morning and recorded this dawn chorus. Let's listen to it. I'm here on the third floor of my house in South Delhi, where we have a small lawn and a garden and some flowers and some herbs. And amidst this greenery, I'm sitting just before dawn, listening to whatever birds pass by. You can hear prominently common parrots, those wonderful green birds with rings around their necks and bright red beaks, which we see all over India. Flights of them have started flying overhead. Another prominent note is that of the common crow, which you can hear in the background. Above the sound of some dogs barking occasionally, the neighborhood dogs can be quite vociferous. A lovely flight of parrots just above. So let's sit back on this very unusual day in 2020 and listen to the dawn chorus in South Delhi from the terrace garden of my house. As many people have observed, is remarkably clear and pure. One of the side effects of this lockdown for COVID-19 being that pollution levels have come dramatically down. And I think as the sun is about to rise, the dawn chorus here in South Delhi is beginning to settle down. So that was just a glimpse of the dawn chorus from my own rooftop here in South Delhi. Any comments on that? But this is the same old birds that we hear in Delhi on all the Delhi recordings of this program, right, Bikram?
Yes. Yeah, it is. And I just want to add a little thing. As soon as the lockdown is over, I sort of urge all the listeners to join their local bird clubs. Almost every city has one. You'll enjoy yourself, you will widen your horizons, all at no cost. It's a fascinating hobby which you can do from anywhere. You can travel to the forest, you can even do it from your own terrace. So get down to bird watching and you will not regret it.
Well, I certainly would second that message from you, Bikram. And what about you, Shumit? Any last comments?
Just a word for people who are late in waking up and miss something like a dawn chorus every morning. There is the serenade in the evening also. It's called the roosting call. So in specific areas, birds come back to roost. And that call can often be louder than the dawn call, because the dawn call is about territory, about sex appeal and stuff like that. The roosting call is all about chatting with friends. So the male, female,
putting up your feet and relaxing at the end of a hard day of foraging for food.
Exchanging notes and stuff like that. And if you have lived near a parakeet or a starling roost, You can't hear yourself.
I know, they are
so
very,
loud,
very vociferous,
so
aren't they? Yes.
Yes. So I would urge people who miss the dawn chorus because they can't get up early enough to go to places where there are roosting calls and enjoy nature at its best.
Well, thank you very, very much indeed, both of you. I'm so grateful to you, Bikram Grewal from Gurugram in the National Capital Region and Shumit Sen from Kolkata for joining us as our experts on this program. This has been a unique edition of the International Dawn Chorus on International Dawn Chorus Day, which is always celebrated on the first Sunday in May every year, because it's not been coming live to you in the sense that we haven't gone out to an exotic location to bring it to you live, as we have done in previous years and as we have done in association with RTE and Derek Mooney of Mooney's Goes Wild fame. But we have done our own attempt at All India Radio. The World Service of All India Radio has put together this program by crowdsourcing recordings of the Dawn Chorus from different parts of this country, of India, as well as from abroad, from Ireland, from Singapore, from Bangladesh, Scotland, Pakistan, and Sweden, as well as the USA. So it's been a great pleasure for me to be here. And I'm particularly grateful to our team at All India Radio, led by Amlan Jyoti Majumdar, who said we will do a Dawn Chorus this year, despite the lockdown, come what may. So thank you very much, Amlan Jyoti, and your team, consisting of Monica Gulati and Kumar Gaurav, with technical support from VK Sharma and Randhir Singh. You have made this possible. Thank you very much indeed. I'm so glad that you listeners are also tuned in, and I hope you enjoyed this program and will take to birding and to listening to the Dawn Chorus wherever you are and celebrate this particular day every single year. Thank you very much for joining me. This is Sunit Tandon from All India Radio saying goodbye and have a great International Dawn Chorus Day.
As the world celebrates Dawn Chorus Day today, you just heard crowdsourced recordings of bird songs from our listeners. The program was devised and produced by Amlan Jyoti Majumdar and Monica Gulati. The technical support was provided by VK Sharma, Senior Engineering Assistant, and Randhir Singh, Senior Technician.